Hi everybody, this is Agnes from Sediment. So let's have a perfect weekend in Douro Valley. I hold a special place in my heart for Portugal, especially for the Douro region. My first trip to Portugal was something like 15 years ago, and naturally we were going to Algarve. But having come such a long way, literally from the other end of Europe, I decided to rent a car to visit some winemaking regions. And of course, I needed to visit Douro. I fell in love with this region. There are few wineries that age their ports in the Douro Valley nowadays, and more wineries that offer wine tastings and visits inside the Douro Valley. However, the main place to visit and taste port wines and other winemaking styles made here is the twin city of Porto, Vila Nova de Gaia. Looking from a bridge or a bird's eye view, you will see all the top names: Taylor's, Croft, Quinta do Noval, Fonseca and Graham's. You could squeeze several visits into a day and compare house styles, or you can choose an estate you like the best, or perhaps one you are less familiar with. I love Mavericks and therefore especially wanted to visit Newport. Newport is a family-owned estate and they value the health of the soil, sustainability and diversity in the vineyards. They constantly challenge themselves and involve themselves in various projects while still retaining the highest quality standards. Newport has several projects within Portugal and outside it, so you can choose which regions and wines you would like to discover more in the tasting. Furthermore, the staff was very welcoming, and when I said that I am familiar with some of their wines, they happily offered to taste other wines that I knew less about. Maybe you could even taste the tea here. I didn't ask, but I know they have a tea aging room. And if you are especially lucky, you could get to visit the secret cellar, filled with history, legends, and magnificent stories, but most importantly, wines aged in glass demijohns. But let's be honest, while the majority of port wine is still aged in Vila Nova de Gaia, it is really made in the Douro Valley, in the vineyards some 80 kilometers inland. And that is where we must go, because as I said, this is a region that has left a significant impression on me. I want to spend more time there, and a great way to truly understand the region is through walking it. Wake up early before the sun is too high and go for a hike. If you choose a hike that is a loop, which I always like to do, consider carefully which way to start. We started at the top and headed down to the river, walked through the vineyards, cherry trees and passed some friendly dogs. But maybe it is smarter to start going upwards in the morning when it is quite pleasant or even chilly temperature-wise, and when the sun is high, stroll downwards. I am telling you, going up is no picnic. There is a reason why there are no videos from our journey up. We were exhausted, red-faced and hyperventilating. Despite the tiredness, I enjoyed every minute of it. The views were gorgeous and it is definitely a must. It also gives you more understanding of how difficult it is working these vineyards and why mechanization is so limited here. If you think you have seen enough gorgeous views while traveling by car, still make sure to explore Douro Valley from the river. There are so many options to choose from, starting from large boats resembling cruise ships, smaller ones that are made to mimic the traditional boats used to transport port down the stream, and small intimate ones for up to 6 to 8 people. We actually chose one that offers wine tasting while silently cruising from Pinhao because it is powered by solar panels. Being on a river, especially if the boat is not powered by a loud engine, you catch a completely different magic of the region. You are not in the crowded space anymore, which sometimes some villages or cities of Douro can be, and you start to hear the birds singing and water lapping against the shores. You smell the flowers and you actually appreciate the vineyards from a completely different view. I think this is the best way to see and understand the orientation and planting styles of the vineyards. Traveling by train and experiencing the region through the window is also a must, but if anyone is familiar with the punctuality of German or Austrian trains or public transportation, please do not expect it here. According to locals, the timetable is just a mere indication of when the train might arrive at each station. Apparently, traditionally, but really not that long ago, trains would stop at the station and some passengers would get out of it and quickly visit local friends for a refreshing beverage, and the train would wait for them to come back. Given that roads in Douro can be quite narrow and filled with turn after turn after turn, sometimes getting from one place to another by train might be faster. But be advised that during the high season, getting a spot next to the window might not be easy, and you might end up squeezed between many others just like you without an actual view. And even if you choose not to travel by train, or if you do not get into the train because it is so packed, make sure to visit train stations. They are beautiful and free for all visitors. And lastly, eat. Eat in Douro. Here you can find many different restaurants, ranging from simple, honest food made by the family to more fancy with the white tablecloths and extensive wine lists. Douro Valley is definitely one of the destinations to have some of the greatest foods, and I mean, there are great restaurants on every single corner wherever you turn, but today I have chosen pretty nice, a bit fancy restaurant with an amazing view. This olive oil was epic. It is made from a small olive grove just outside the restaurant, so it literally travels less than 100 meters to be served. One of the staples of port wines is the vintage port, and because it is bottled without filtering, it will throw sediment. Therefore, vintage port is one of the wines you definitely want to decant before serving. If you have the chance, make sure to spend more time in this absolutely magical place called the Douro Valley. A weekend was too short for me, but I know I am coming back the first chance I get. And I think I have said it 100 times already. Even though I do not have any talents, I thought I could write symphonies here, inspired by the magnificence of the nature surrounding me.